Hey everyone, welcome to one of those videos that will make you go, "Oh Ryder, get some sleep you lunatic," or you'll go, "Ryder, you're a majestic beauty, keep up the good work." So today I'm going to try and tackle the 6's dilemma. Now hopefully you all know the 6's meta, but just in case you don't, it's a demo man, 2 scouts, a roaming soldier, a pocket soldier, and a medicinal man. Now what I want to talk about today is the heavy weapons guy in 6's. Now before I dive into this, I just want to say I do not play any form of third-party 6's, so I'm probably not the best person to talk about 6's itself. So I brought my pal here, Teemo the scientist, to do some talking on stuff that I do not have the slightest of clues on.
Hello.
But I do know the heavy weapons guy, like, really well. So I felt that it's my duty to put my own dumb 2 cents on this new whitelist. So for the more uninformed folks, what I'm going to be talking about today is this new whitelist that's formed. The third-party competitive 6's leagues all band together to form one massive whitelist. Links in the description. Now, the old 6's whitelist basically said which weapons were allowed and which ones are banned. This was different for each region, so it's very hard for players of different nationalities to really relate to each other. At least I always found it more difficult than it needed to be. So now there's this universal whitelist, which I feel is a great improvement. This whitelist not only unites foreign players, but it also revamped the experience. Now for the sake of my own intelligence, I'm going to be referring to UGC, as I have never played TF2 before. However, I have played UGC a couple of times as a sub. So with that said, the old whitelist for UGC had every single item banned for heavy except for the family business, the locust bar, and killing gloves of boxing. Other than that, you had to use the stock items for heavy. With this new whitelist, heavy has everything unbanned except for the locust, buffalo steak sandwich, fists of steel, and the gloves of running urgently. Now this is just the proposed whitelist, and fingers crossed it stays. So with the exception of these weapons, you pretty much have free reign over your choice of loadout. With that said, always use a sandwich. Heavy is the only class in the game that can directly heal a medic. With the new installment of the sandwich in 6's, the heavy can in fact heal his medic better than, say, a pocket soldier. He can also absorb more damage for his medic so he can live on. However, if he somehow does fail to body block his medic friend, he can always give him a medium health pack at any time. Along with that topic, the heavy's minigun is able to shut down jumpers, which can potentially save your medic's life, as jumping medics is a pretty common strategy to drop an Uber. The heavy can get destroyed by an accurate demo man, as 3 to 4 pipes equals dead heavy. You can also get very easily swarmed. It's also quite likely that you'll get spammed out of any position that you want to hold, whether it be in a choke or even out in the open. However, if your medic friend is using a vaccinator, you can avoid most spam and be relatively alright in most situations. Along with some things that Heavy kind of faults at, his movement speed is one of them. As mentioned earlier, the gloves of running urgently and the buffalo steak sandwich are banned at the moment of recording this, so no matter what you use, you cannot be running at the max speed of 100%, thus making Heavy less viable on 5 CP, as he can't get to mid-fight nearly as fast as any other class. However, he can use the eviction notice, so he moves faster than the walk speed of a soldier, but slower than the walk speed of the demo. The soldier walks at 80% movement speed, and the heavy walks at 88% movement speed, and the demo goes at about 93% movement speed when he's walking. But even with this, he still isn't nearly as viable to get to mid. With that said, he is great at holding second and last, but pushing as a heavy in 6's may not be the best bet. However, heavy is great on cough maps like Viaduct, due to the fact that he doesn't have a big rollout.
And I'd like to mention the actual values this has in actual iron to silver, which is similar to open to mid for TF2. We call this Prolander or 6's lander, which consists of a certain meta of a scout, a soldier, a demo, a pyro, a heavy, and a vaccinator medic. This meta consists of aggressively pushing with the use of vaccinator Ubers to deny projectile spams and scout flanks, making it a pretty deadly meta in the hands of a good team. As there is not many ways to counter this, and high-level Highlander team members tend to use this meta to sandbag in low-level 6's, and the main reason behind this meta not replacing the regular 6's meta is due to the sheer damage per minute difference between high-level teams and low-level teams, and the fact that Vaccinator can still be double bombed by soldiers and scouts at the same time, draining Ubers extremely fast for the Vaccinator medic and giving enemy team the advantage. And as a side note, if your medic dies, your team will be rolled, making this play roll around keeping your medic alive at all costs.
So in conclusion, Heavy is playable now in 6's, whereas he used to not even be able to stand up off the warm-up bench. If you have the right team coordination and a high amount of skill, you can be surprisingly useful. Again, I would not recommend playing Heavy in 6's, but if you're very good at Heavy, you can play Heavy. Like myself, I think I'm near the low to medium spectrum of the skill required to play Heavy in 6's. On top of the Heavy's usefulness in 6's, there's also the general stress of the competitive game, like callouts, flanks, and pushes, and all that jazz you have to remember. Don't let this discourage you from playing Heavy in 6's though. Just work hard, find the right team, and you can potentially knock the other team's pants off with your skill. Now, for what it's worth, you can totally disagree with me. You can say, Ryder, you're wrong, you're dumb, don't ever play 6's. But just know that this is my inexperienced opinion on a game mode not built for a class that I'm talking about. Odds are you'll have a different opinion, and I hope you don't hold it against me that we differ, because I'm sure you're a nice person, and disagreeing over something is no reason to hate someone. So as always, have a swell day. Peace out.